All right, welcome to a mini review, you guys. This is a mini review because I just don't have that much time to talk about this today. And also because it's an SSR free character, which basically lately have just been good additions to the game that makes people generally, just stronger and it's like it's a free character. You just need to spend some time and get him leveled up, and he is usually pretty good enough that no complaints. So yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Khamral, I do believe his name is, or at least the pronunciation of his name. I don't know. I haven't heard it in English because I play the Japanese side and I've never seen this name before. So there it is. Fire Elemental, 50 cost, 3 move, 1 jump, martial artist, nightblade, and sniper with hat, clothing, accessory, and a fist user. And you know me, lately I am on all about fists. Fist units are really cool. Strike attack is feeling really interesting. And this is a good get for everything that I just mentioned about. So first off, his TMR, 72 attack, 138 fist with 13 crit that also gives a higher chance for criticals. So on a team where you are looking at criticals, this is pretty good. As in terms of a fist unit or just a fist TMR, it's nice always to have a little bit more options. So again, no complaints. Master ability gives him strike attack, resistance, penetration, paralyzed resistance for his allies. Strike attack, resistance, penetration for himself of 10, reaction block rate of 20, and ice killer of 20. And dream ability gives HP and acquired AP. Acquired AP is interesting because it's 30%. It's fairly high. And as you can see from the friend unit that we have here with the equipment, Esper, and everything that we have equipped, pretty decent stats. 1249 for a strike-based unit is pretty good. Defense of 20, we got Spirit of 6. Well, and his move even goes up a little bit because, of course, one of the passives is... That's not a passive, Umbra. Not that one. The move +1 in agility. So he has pretty good range of motion, which is good for what we're going to want him to do. And again, pretty net positive it feels like for just resistances. Like he's weak against magic and spear, but not necessarily the scariest thing for him if we were building a cost-effective team. And so that kind of brings me back to talking about why I like this character. And we're not really going to say too much because Ural is a well-established character. We know that she's pretty good. For me and my account, one of the reasons why I'm happy to see Khamral is because my account's weakest element is Earth, and that's just not going to change. I have a much stronger fire element because I've just been better getting fire elemental characters. And for the record, I'm not interested in Khamral just anywhere. I am specifically interested in limited or cost limited events for a strike based team because of the fact that he shares with Ural. So yeah, support really isn't that interesting to talk about. Counter isn't really that interesting to talk about. It's all essentially what you expect. And you look at his main job and it's mostly the same talking points. Decrease in agility if he can get really close, 200 basically ignore fatal damage, plus restore a little bit of HP, and give him the following effect. We'll come back to this in a second. Move to target unit panel. He's got some AoE that can also be increased if auto restore or defense is active. He can also, decrease AoE resistance. So he has some pretty good abilities, but the key ability that I am the most interested in is this. Grants following effect for allies. Dispel ignore fatal damage. Dispel follow-up cast and for 3 turns. Gives him a 25 accuracy boost and an AoE resistance of 20. Now the big thing here is not so much for him, but it is for another character. Yeah, Bridal Alaya. And you have to understand that Bridal Alaya is really good at dishing out a lot of damage, a significant amount of damage that is incredibly dangerous for a lot of opponents to go up against. And in her kit, she is able to get rid of auto re-raise, barriers, stuff like that. The one thing that has been keeping her held back a little bit is ignore fatal damage. And here we have a unit that can effectively dispel that. What it basically means is that you can build a purely strike-based team, which is more difficult to counter and less likely to be prepared for. And now you can give Bridal Alaya the one thing she was missing with a fairly strong Fire Fist user, which is pretty good. Not because Ice is around, but Fire and Lightning does have more synergy with each other. So you throw this in with Alphonse, you have a very cost-effective team, basically 240 on units alone, that is capable of removing basically almost every like survival tool that current units have that is very dispellable. Like you look at Raph really loves having re-raise on her. Same with Majin Peanut. Sephiroth is just tanky with a barrier, but all of those things can now be gotten around fairly easily. And both of these units have a little bit of strike resistance penetration, which is just generally icing on the cake. Yeah, I do really like this unit for completing a more limited cost strike-based team. So much so that I would dare even say that it is pretty good enough to be a fairly high recommendation. Like here we do have a strike-based team that was already queued up. And I know that we have Lizette here, but we're not going to hold that against her. We are just going to go in with this type, and we'll also just show the stats one more time, which I think is perfectly acceptable for an SSR unit. Going over and looking at Preen, for example, not too terribly much difference, and we know the type of power that these characters are able to output. So let's just go in. This is going to be a fairly short demonstration today for the purposes of exhaustion. And, I got to stream in a little bit, so keeping this video relatively short and on topic. I mean, I don't even care about Nightblade so much. It's not even that it missed the chance for the triple hitter. I don't really care about Sniper. Those are just benefits to my overall end goals. And I think that those are strong enough that it will be quite good for into the future. Just having that ability with a lateral, generally better way of getting through some units is enough value to be just good kind of thing. There is, of course, I want to say that there was some benefit that I was looking at earlier, which let me just really take a quick peek here. Like Sniper does have an attack boost to boost his damage, and because Martial Artist's sub-job has a really nice little benefit or booster too, that's also pretty nice, so great news. Alright, so even just taking a quick peek, like for a lower cost character, this is fairly decent. Especially without having really done any boosting, necessarily running any extra human killer on him, or too terribly much, I should say. We can see that we're dishing out fairly good damage. Not as much as Bridal Alaya, but again, this character is more of an enabler for Bridal Alaya to really go ham against a bunch of characters. So yeah, let's look in here. Let's find that nice big attack booster. Bring this guy over here just so we can have a little bit more of a chance. And we'll just skip a bunch of turns so we can get back to our main character. These guys are going to go do some stuff. It's totally fine. Pitiful damage. Alright, so no limit burst, of course, sad. You can see the type of damage that he is doing. Again, in a limited cost style event, these characters would also be not necessarily as good as this, which is important just because for context. But let's see here. Getting some strike chaining in here. So yeah, I mean, like overall, I'm just gonna say I particularly like this character. I like him for a specific role. I'm not gonna say that he is the best SSR ever, although maybe with time he could end up excelling in really neat and cool ways that will be pretty good. I just like him for the potential combo towards a really strong strike-based team that can push a little bit more hard in a like limited cost event. But yeah, I think I've said that enough that that is essentially where I am really thinking that I will end up enjoying having this character. So yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but quite good. And I mean, I'm going to be building him next limited cost. Actually, there's a limited cost event right now. If I could build mine fast enough, if I could find the time, might be worth trying it out and just seeing how it goes. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Next time we will be talking about the other new character and seeing what she's all about. So see ya.